What if the internet's favorite fairy tale turned into a courtroom thriller, complete with leaked texts, split fan bases, and a judge stepping in to take the phones away? That's the roller coaster ride behind DDG and Halle Bailey. Two careers on fire, one newborn son, and a timeline that went from red carpet cute to legal chess in record time. Today, we're unpacking how a picture-perfect romance became a public custody war, and why a judge just told both of them to stop posting their child online. When they first linked up in 2022, the story sold itself.
What has that relationship taught you about love?
The love can be positive. I come from a toxic place. I always felt like, relationships, they last about a year, I just be getting rented for a year. That was a dark statement that I just said.
He's the streamer turned rapper with a loyal audience. She's the Beyonce-backed singer-actress crossing over to blockbuster roles. Fans called them Endgame. By the time Halo arrived in December 2023, the caption read like a soft launch for a new era. Mom beaming, dad proud, internet cooing. For a moment, it was calm. Then the volume knob snapped off. What had started as a dreamy love story suddenly began carrying all the hallmarks of a messy saga. The kind the internet thrives on, dissecting every post and interview like it's courtroom evidence. Trouble didn't explode all at once. It leaked, then poured. Music teasing jealousy. Fans reading into lyrics. Rumors that DMs got messy. Was it insecurity? Was it clout? Depends on which thread you read. What's clear is that the private arguments started writing the public storyline. And once the audience got a taste, they wanted every screenshot, every angle, every gotcha. And once the momentum built, it seemed impossible for either one to take it offline again. They separated months later, promising to co-parent and keep it civil. The promise didn't make it through the first act. Claims surfaced that access to Halo wasn't simple, that creative projects were being blocked, and that trust wasn't just broken, it was ground into dust. The breakup moved from "we're good" to lawyers line one with dizzying speed, showing how quickly affection can morph into accusation when fame, money, and millions of eyes are involved. Then came May 2025. In a move that changed the entire narrative, Halle secured a temporary restraining order against DDG. In filings, she described a pattern of alleged physical, verbal, emotional, and financial abuse, and she included photos that, she said, showed injuries, like a chipped tooth. The order created a legal moat around her and their child. The internet split on cue. Some said, case closed. Others asked, what's the full story? Either way, the stakes were no longer just about reputations. They were about safety, custody, and evidence. A few weeks later, the counter-narrative arrived. In early June, DDG asked the court to block Halle from taking Halo to Italy for a film shoot and sought custody terms in his favor. In those filings, he pointed to a series of alarming texts and what he framed as mental health crises, claiming risk for their infant. Again, allegations, not facts, adjudicated in a final ruling. But the effect was immediate. Public opinion started bouncing like a pinball.
The judge has now granted Halle temporary sole custody of Halo. Why? Because once the person says that they have a solid home for the kid to be at, that person, and it's a mom, you're gonna get the kid, at least here in California.
For every post that backed her, another defended him, and the cycle kept spinning. The court didn't swallow either story whole. Instead, a judge allowed DDG to visit Halo in Italy, but only with a professional monitor present. That detail mattered. It signaled the court wanted contact, but with guardrails. It also told the internet to maybe take a breath. When judges choose supervision, they're often saying, this is complicated, and the child's stability comes first. Meanwhile, everything outside the courtroom kept feeding the machine. Clips from conventions went viral. A scuffle involving DDG's brother turned into a cudgel online. Depending on your corner of the timeline, that moment either proved a narrative of chaos or was a red herring. People stretched beyond relevance. And as often happens with celebrity drama, the 10-second clip outshined the hundreds of hours of unseen reality. That's the problem with virality. The loudest frame often beats the truest one, especially when the internet is thirsty for a villain. By late summer, the judge basically said, enough internet parenting. A court order barred both parents from posting Halo or each other on social media. Not just a vibe check, a legal one. The order also aligned with continued supervised visitation for DDG and set the next hearing for October 15, 2025. Translation: the court wants less noise, more structure, and time to sift evidence without the algorithm trying the case first. Here's where viewers get stuck. Who's right? The honest answer, as of today, is that much of this remains unresolved and built on competing allegations. Halle's filings portray a partner who crossed hard lines and left marks. DDG's filings depict a co-parent he says sent frightening messages and shouldn't travel internationally without strict safeguards. Neither version has been crowned the definitive truth in a final ruling. If someone tells you it's simple, they're selling clicks, not clarity. But there is something we can say for sure. The internet made this worse. Posting every shard of pain turned a family dispute into a fandom war. When followers pick teams, they don't just debate, they swarm. That's why the judge pulled the plug on the posts. Courts have started recognizing that viral mob pressure can distort co-parenting, escalate threats, and yes, hurt the kid at the center. And look, speculation will always swirl around celebrity breakups. People will say, I heard, reports claim, rumors suggest. Here's the safe way to process it. Treat unverified claims like fog, interesting shape, unclear edges. For instance, there's buzz about who weaponized what, whether a video proves a personality, and who's lying versus misremembering. Some of those claims are sourced to court filings, others are commentary or clout chasing. Until a judge rules, or both sides stipulate facts, label the rest as alleged and keep it moving. So where does that leave Halo? In a system trying to shield him from the splash damage. The monitored visits in Italy weren't just about logistics, they were about insulating a toddler from two massive public brands. Even if both parents love him, the court's message is blunt. Love isn't enough when the timeline is your third co-parent. Structure matters, boundaries matter. And for now, the boundary is no posts, supervised contact, see you on October 15th. It's tempting to end with a verdict, but the truthful close is a question. What happens to our empathy when entertainment meets family court? The internet wants a villain and a hero. Courts want stability and a plan. Somewhere between those two realities is a little boy who didn't ask for millions of spectators. If this case proves anything, it's that privacy can be a form of protection, and that the strongest move might be the quiet one. And that wasn't the whole story. In the weeks ahead, filings could drop, narratives could flip, and both fan bases will claim victory at every update. But remember, the only timeline that matters isn't on social media. It's Halo's childhood. When this finally reaches a ruling, the headlines will say, who won? The real answer will be whether he got to grow up without the internet turning his life into a never-ending episode. Bottom line, fairy tales are tidy, families aren't. The court date is set, the posts are paused, and the next chapter will be written, where views don't count and evidence does. Until then, hold the hot takes, keep the compassion, and let due process do its job.